This man would not leave me alone. And at first he was just annoying, but after a while I was kind of getting scared because I was in heels. I can barely walk in heels, let alone run. So I was like, how the hell am I gonna get away from this man? He was like, "Hey miss, how are you today?" "I'm good, thank you." Then I just kept on walking. The next second he says, "You look so good today." And I was like, "Oh, you're so sweet, thank you." And I kept walking. Then his whole demeanor changed. That friendly tone that he once had and that smile completely wiped off his face. And I could tell. So he goes on to say, "So you're not gonna give me your number? Why are you ignoring me? Why are you trying to act so Hollywood?" Is this man talking to me? Keep in mind that I do not know this man. I literally met him like 45 seconds ago and he was being this annoying. I know why he wasn't leaving me alone. It was the same reason why I had to ignore the first 5 men before him. And the reason is so stupid. I was dressed for the male gaze and I didn't intentionally do that. I had to take photos for a brand wearing that dress, so I had no choice but to wear the dress. And honestly, the dress was not even that bad. I thought it was fine. Like, I didn't think I would get that much attention, to be honest, but here we are. I'll show you the dress so you can see it for yourself. I might cover my face though, because I didn't like how I looked in the pictures. It depends on my mood and my confidence levels when I'm editing, so we'll see. Just to let you guys know, he ended up leaving me alone after I literally would not stop walking. I literally just kept walking and eventually he got the hint. He was mad though, he was very mad, but he finally walked away, so you know, NK's good. Anyways, this very annoying experience and also the rise in popularity of the male gaze and the female gaze has inspired me to make this video. The discourse on the male gaze and female gaze is so interesting and it's so important to talk about as well because they impact the way that we perceive gender in the media and also how we view each other. And there is so much to say, but I do want to focus on Hollywood in this video only because we had such amazing films come out this year and also within the past couple years as well. So I do want to focus on Hollywood, but maybe in the future I'll make another video that talks about the male and female gaze, but I'll expand it beyond the Hollywood life. There is a lot to go over, so let's get into today's video. Hey guys, it's NK just hopping in real quick. Before we get into today's video, we need to talk about you. If you're here, you've got a front row seat to the internet circus. And trust me, you're going to want to be the ringmaster of your own security show. And what better way to protect yourself than by using a VPN, specifically CyberGhost VPN. Think of it as your personal bodyguard. It shields you away from the dark forces of malicious hackers and websites. When you step into the CyberGhost realm, your online traffic becomes a secret agent, sneaking through a secure VPN tunnel, wrapping your IP address in invisibility, and encrypting your data like it's the crown of jewels. And I don't know if you can tell, but I have been reading a lot, so I have been feeling more creative, so that's where all this is coming from. Thanks to CyberGhost VPN, you can access geo-restricted content on websites such as YouTube, social media networks. You can find better deals online, play games that are blocked in your region, protect your identity by keeping your data encrypted, and even get blocked libraries on over 40 plus streaming services such as Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, or Disney Plus, and so much more. Compatible with various platforms such as Windows and Mac or Android and iOS, CyberGhost VPN is your all-access pass to online freedom on up to 7 devices. And if you're like me, you definitely love saving your money, so CyberGhost VPN is sending you an amazing deal. Just $2.03 per month, plus a bonus of 4 months for free, which equates to an 84% discount. So you do not have to go broke by protecting yourself online. And they have a 45-day money-back guarantee and 24/7 customer support, so everything is completely risk-free. Don't miss out on this exclusive offer made just for you. You can find the link to CyberGhost VPN in the pinned comment below or also the description box. Anyways, thank you to CyberGhost VPN for sponsoring today's video, and now let's get into the actual video. Part 1. So what exactly is the male gaze? We have all heard about it at least once in our lives, but do we actually know what it means? Maybe you do, but I always had an idea about it and what it meant. But if you asked me, I would have just said it describes the way men view women. But it's so much more deeper than that, so let's explore it together. So the term male gaze was first introduced by British feminist film theorist and filmmaker Laura Mulvey in her influential essay titled Visual Pleasure and Narrative Cinema back in 1975. It refers to how visual media, particularly films and other forms of visual culture, are structured around a male viewer's perspective. However, the concept has been extended to analyze broader cultural events beyond cinema, which we will talk about a little bit in today's video. But first, let's talk about how the male gaze is so prevalent in today, specifically in Hollywood. It is predominantly men who craft the narratives that we see on the big screen, and it's usually men who bring these stories to life through filmmaking. And more often than not, men are usually the target audience of these films. Due to this, male characters typically assume the lead roles of films, while female characters are often relegated to roles that serve the objectives of these male protagonists, thereby perpetuating gender-based limitations. It is important to note that when Laura wrote her essay, she wrote it for an academic audience, so some of the terms can get a little bit confusing, so I'm going to try to simplify it so no one gets confused. But in her essay, she explored the concept of pleasure in looking. This idea is drawn from psychology, and it states that our enjoyment in watching movies is because we enjoy observing people without actually being observed ourselves. So when we have men writing the films, men making the films, men starring in the films, and being the target audience, it all combines into a unified heterosexual male perspective of female characters. And that's a very interesting point that Laura brings up. And the way I see it as, how do I put this in a way that doesn't sound creepy? I mean, I'm sure that heterosexual men enjoy seeing women in certain types of clothing. So when they're watching a movie and the lead actress or the supporting actress is a very beautiful woman who has a very nice body and a beautiful face, I'm sure that they enjoy watching that. And they enjoy watching that without being watched themselves, if that makes any sense. And this doesn't only apply to men, because traditional cinema has raised all of us, even women, to view movies through the male gaze. So adopting the male gaze, even if you're not a heterosexual male, still happens to us because our perceptions have been shaped from the very beginning, because Hollywood for a long time has produced a lot of films through the male gaze. I would say 99% of the films in Hollywood are in the male gaze. However, we are starting to see a shift, but we still have a long way to go. One of the key aspects of the male gaze is the objectification of women. We see it in advertisements, movies, TV shows, where women's bodies are often presented as objects of desire, and this is eye candy to men and also some women as well. The objectification of women refers to the act of treating women as objects, as commodities, and valuing their physical appearance and their sexual appeal rather than their intelligence, their intrinsic qualities, or just who they are as a person. I'm sure if you're a woman, you have at least once in your life felt objectified by a man, and honestly, probably more than once. Like, if we're really being honest, you have definitely felt that more than once. But you know, I mean, might be some girls out there who have only experienced it once, so you are very lucky if that is your situation. And men objectifying you can look different. It can be as subtle as them staring at your chest rather than staring at your eyes while you're talking. Even though sometimes that's not really subtle when they do it, to be honest, it's very obvious, but I digress. Or it could be more overt. Let's say you're walking down the street minding your business, and some random man with a receding hairline and food crumbs in his beard is asking you to be the mother of his 7 children. True story. And since we're talking about the male gaze, I really want to bring up the show Euphoria. There is a lot of controversy and drama surrounding the show, and at this point, I really don't think we're getting a season 3 of Euphoria, which I guess is for the better in a way, but I can't lie, some part of me does want to see a season 3 because I did like season 2, to be honest, but I know there's a lot of stuff going on and people have criticized the show a lot, so if we don't get a season 3 as well, I wouldn't mind. Euphoria is a television series that first premiered on HBO in June 2019. It was created and written by Sam Levinson. The show explores the lives of a group of high school students as they navigate the complexities of adolescence, identity, relationships, and societal pressures. The series is known for its raw and intense portrayal of the challenges faced by these teenagers, as well as its stylistic and visually striking cinematography. Anyways, one of the main characters on the show is Cassie, and she is played by Sydney Sweeney. Her character is portrayed as conventionally attractive, and her looks contribute to her popularity in the social scene at school. However, this popularity comes with its own set of challenges for her. If you have already watched the series, it should come at no shock when I say Cassie is one of the most, or I think no, she is the most sexualized character on the show. This has been a point of criticism for a lot of people. They have criticized Sam Levinson for over-sexualizing her character, especially since her character is a teenager. The show has also been called out for adhering to the male gaze. I did find Cassie's character interesting, but I do have to agree with the over-sexualization at some point, because sometimes I was even questioning myself. I was like, did we really have to see her Tia Tamaras that often? Can you still get your point across without making her go completely shirtless? I found myself asking those questions, and I feel like we should start asking those questions when we start to see certain shows or movies depict women in a certain light. The actor that plays Cassie, Sydney Sweeney, even told The Independent back in 2022, she said, there are moments where Cassie was supposed to be shirtless. And I would tell Sam, I don't really think that's necessary here. He was like, okay, we don't need it. However, she did make it clear that she was never uncomfortable when filming intimate scenes on the show. But her comment does raise an important point on the over-sexualization of women and also the male gaze. Cassie's character revolved around her sexual activity, and she was shamed for it in the show when she was at school and also in the cyber world. In fact, our initial introduction to Cassie occurs during a scene where there's a group of teenage boys on their phones and they're just swiping through a slideshow of pictures, and it turns out these pictures are of Cassie, and Cassie has no clothes on. And what those boys are seeing on their screens, we're seeing the exact same thing on the big screen. So we can see all day. I say all of this to say that a lot of people were not happy with how Cassie's character was portrayed, because they felt that Sam Levinson could still get his point across without always making her go nude for these shoots. However, Cassie's character serves as a vivid representation of the male gaze prevalent in film and media. Despite the depth and complexity of her character with numerous layers that contribute to who she is, the predominant focus often centers on her physical appearance rather than the intricacies of her storyline. This tendency to prioritize the physical over the narrative not only diminishes the nuanced portrayal of Cassie as a character, but also reflects a broader societal trend where the emphasis on appearance tends to overshadow the substance and the depth of female characters in the portrayal of women in media. Cassie's character, despite its richness, becomes emblematic of the challenges women face in escaping the confines of objectification and having their stories given the prominence that they deserve. I really hope all of that made sense, and it should make sense because I feel like I explained it good. But really, the main points of the male gaze theory in the media is that women are often objectified and reduced to their physical appearance, with a specific emphasis on certain body parts. Tia Tamaras. The male gaze theory reinforces power imbalance, with the viewer, most likely being a man, positioned as the one in control, actively looking, while the woman is the passive subject and she is being looked at. And female characters are often presented in ways that cater to the assumed desires of a male audience, framing their appearance and their actions to fulfill the male fantasy. And I know I said that this video would mostly be about Hollywood, but the male gaze theory extends beyond Hollywood, and it affects every area of our lives, including the entertainment industry as a whole. I love me some Megan Thee Stallion. She's a very talented rapper. I think she blew up like 2020 or 2020 or 2019, but she blew up quite recently. But she's amazing. She's very talented. But I could not help but wonder, if she wasn't extremely attractive and didn't appeal to the male gaze, would she be as popular as she is? So Megan already has the talent. She knows how to rap, she knows how to write, she knows how to perform, she has amazing stage presence. So I'm definitely not trying to take away all of that from her, because she definitely has worked hard to get where she is. However, she is in a male-dominated industry, and she's in the hip-hop genre, so that's even more male-dominated. So I think it is fair to ask those questions. This doesn't only apply to Megan, because there are a lot of women who are in the same situation as her. We see a lot of female artists who aren't afraid to wear some risque outfits being pushed to the forefront, especially in rap. If you listen to rap or know about rap, can you think of any extremely successful female rapper who is currently relevant today who is modest? And I just want to make it really clear that this is not shade to any of these women who choose to show more skin, because I'm gonna still listen to their music, I'm still a fan of them, I'm gonna go to the concerts, I'm gonna have fun. So there's no shade to them, but I think it's very interesting and just very telling how in female rap, if women want to succeed, they have to look a certain way. And it's just really annoying, because if you look at male rap, They don't have to do that. They don't have to be showing their abs. They don't have to show their body to sell records, and it's really annoying. Tierra Whack is a great example of a talented female rapper who isn't as popular as Megan Thee Stallion, Ice Spice, or Sexy Red. And there may be many reasons to why she's not as popular, but I definitely believe it's because of the way she presents herself. When she's performing, you're not gonna see her booty cheeks. She's gonna be covered up. She's not gonna be shaking her booty, and that's just that. And that simply doesn't appeal to the male gaze, unfortunately. And to me, it's just not fair. I really feel like there should be more variety in female rap because yes, I'm all for the women who wanna shake their booties and just have fun. I'm here for that, but I feel like it just needs to be more balanced. Like if I'm in the mood to be a baddie, I can listen to Ice Spice, Megan Thee Stallion and have fun, but sometimes I'm not always in the mood for that. I just want to listen to something, or I want to listen to something that maybe challenges the way I think or makes me see a different perspective. I would love to listen to that sometimes too in female rap, but I feel like the most popular women are the ones who appeal to the male gaze, and it's just annoying. And another thought that just came to my mind is Billie Eilish. I remember when she first came out, she was wearing baggy clothes, and it was interesting because people are like, why is she wearing baggy clothes? Like da 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 da, like they were asking that. But I find it interesting because I feel like if she came out wearing like, let's say crop tops and like shorts, I don't think people would ask her why she's doing that. So that's just very interesting in my opinion. And when she chose to wear things that showed off her curves more, people made it a huge deal. I'm like, dang, like what's going on? Is it really a big deal that a woman decides to wear baggy clothes? I just feel like modesty gets shamed, and I'm just like, why? Why can't we allow people to be modest? It's just so interesting. But anyways, enough with the male gaze. Let's talk about the female gaze. Part 2. So what exactly is the female gaze? While the concept of the male gaze suggests the existence of a female gaze, Laura Mulvey never actually addressed it in her work. Her analysis of women remained confined to their portrayal as objects on the screen, prompting feminist scholars to critique the lack of attention given to the female perspective in her examination of the movie's audience. In response to these critiques, Laura later published an essay titled Afterthoughts on Visual Pleasure and Narrative Cinema. And in this piece, she maintained her stance on her earlier publication, but she did express a desire to explore the role of women in the audience and their centrality in a film. Nonetheless, her work did not provide a clear definition of the female gaze, leaving critics seeking a more comprehensive understanding. So let's talk about that today. To understand the rise of the female gaze, we must understand the historical context. For decades, as I mentioned earlier, media narratives were primarily shaped through a male-centric lens. Women were often relegated to stereotypes and were objectified and reduced to their physical appearance. As societal norms evolved and discussions about gender equality gained momentum, a noticeable shift started to occur. Women started to demand narratives that resonated with their diverse experiences. The female gaze started to gain prominence as a means of challenging the status quo. From a logical standpoint, if we accept Laura's definition of the male gaze, it might seem straightforward to accept the female gaze as completely opposite, right? So if the male gaze objectifies women, then the female gaze objectifies men. Numerous scholars have asserted that they have identified the definition of the female gaze. However, a lot of these definitions contradict from one another or selectively draw bits and pieces from various sources. I found some definitions overly specific, struggling to encompass the gaze of an entire group, or failing to apply diverse sources. On the other hand, some definitions were just too broad, and it was hard to find a real distinction between the male gaze and the female gaze. The notion of a single female gaze oversimplifies the experiences and perspectives of women, because we have all lived different lives, we all come from different backgrounds, so we are going to have different experiences, and we're going to be able to relate to certain things and not so much other things. Since there are lots of definitions on the female gaze, I'm going to keep it simple and use a popular definition that most people seem to agree with. However, I could possibly do a video on the female gaze as a whole and just focus on all the different definitions and see which one we would like to use moving forward. At its core, the female gaze seeks to empower women. It recognizes that authentic representation is a powerful tool for shaping societal perceptions, and it can hopefully untrain our minds to not view women through the male gaze. By showcasing diverse stories, desires, and experiences, the female gaze contributes to a more inclusive narrative landscape, not only in cinema but also in real life. One of the key missions of the female gaze is to break stereotypes. It challenges the notion that women should be confined to these predefined character roles or be limited to specific character arcs. Instead, it opens up a space for a woman to be portrayed in all of their complexity and individuality. The female gaze doesn't seek dominance or a reciprocal objectification of men. Instead, it's about emphasizing female perspectives on the big screen. So I was already going to talk about the Barbie movie that came out last year, 2023, but with all of this recent Oscar controversy, I was like, okay, well, I might as well talk about it. The Barbie movie starring Margot Robbie was released July 21st, 2023, and it was highly successful. If you have not watched it, you have definitely heard about it because the marketing for the movie was insane. Every time I would open up my phone, I would see something about Barbie. Do you guys remember that Barbie trend? It was popular on TikTok and Instagram where these fashion influencers would wear different outfits while saying, "Hi Barbie, hi Barbie." It was a line from the movie. I actually did participate in that trend. If I can find my video, I'll show you guys. Like, it was a really cool trend and the marketing on the movie was insane. So even if you have not watched the movie, you have definitely heard about the movie. Anyways, the Barbie movie has had a significant impact on pop culture and has grossed over $1 billion, I believe. I think it has grossed 1.4 billion to be exact. The film's basic plot revolves around Barbie, who is played by Margot Robbie, experiencing an existential crisis, prompting her journey to the human world for self-discovery. And Ryan Gosling, who plays Ken and Barbie's kind of boyfriend, joins her for her adventure. The movie cleverly addresses Barbie's unrealistic physical proportions and acknowledges the impact on young girls while celebrating her role as a feminist icon. I did talk about this a little in my New Year, New Race video. You should check it out if you have not watched it. But I talked about how I really liked Barbie and Barbie was a huge part of my childhood. And when I was gifted a Barbie doll, I didn't want that particular Barbie doll because it was a black doll. It wasn't the actual Barbie, like the Barbie with the blonde hair, blue eyes, beautiful body and everything. It wasn't her. So I didn't want the doll and I actually got it exchanged. But I don't want to get off topic, so I'm not going to get into that story. But definitely check out that video if you have not watched it because it's a good watch, even though I was almost attacked. The movie tackles notions of toxic masculinity, entitlement, and the power of female confidence and collaboration. And overall, it was a great movie. I personally really liked it, but I know everyone didn't like it, but to each their own. Let's talk about the Oscars real quick because there's a lot of controversy surrounding the Oscars and the Barbie movie. So the Oscars is a prestigious award show meant to highlight the most significant films of the year. It's like the Grammys, but for film. Getting an Oscar nomination is a huge deal for actors and directors. I know a lot of people dream of that. When I wanted to be an actor and director, I was like, I'm gonna win an Oscar. So it's a really important award for a lot of people to win. I'll be honest, I don't watch the Oscars because I do find it to be a little bit boring, just a little bit. But usually I find out who the winners are on social media anyway, so I don't bother to watch it unless one of my favorite artists is performing. Anyways, the recent Oscar nominations were released and Margot Robbie, who played Barbie in the movie, and Greta Gerwig, who directed the movie, were noticeably not nominated for the major categories. It was expected for Margot to be nominated for Best Actress and for Greta to be nominated for Best Director. The film itself got 8 nominations in total, if I'm not mistaken, and Margot and Greta were nominated for other stuff, but just not the major categories. However, because they were not nominated for these major categories, that has drawn a lot of attention and a lot of criticism. America Ferrera, who was also in the Barbie movie, got her first Oscar nomination, so congratulations to her. Even Ryan Gosling, who played Ken in the Barbie movie, was nominated for Best Supporting Actor, which a lot of people have brought up as well to air their grievances with the fact that Margot was not nominated, but her co-star, who was the supporting actor, was nominated. So here's the thing, I didn't watch all of the movies that have been nominated for Oscars. I don't necessarily have the credentials to say that those people did not deserve a nomination. However, I did really expect Greta and Margot to be nominated for these major categories, to be honest. Because let's be honest, when we think of the Barbie movie, we mostly think of Margot and the director Greta. So I do appreciate the film being recognized by the Academy Awards, which is the Oscars. However, I think it would have been amazing to see these two ladies nominated for these major categories. The ability for a film to convey strong and important messages to a broad audience is truly commendable commendable and inspiring and impressive. The movie Barbie in particular stands out for its capacity to deliver messages of woman empowerment in a way that is accessible and engaging, especially for young girls, but it's also not limited to young girls as well. Not every film can effectively blend entertainment with meaningful messages, which makes Barbie unique with its approach. By delivering important messages in an engaging and enjoyable manner, the film becomes a powerful tool for fostering awareness and understanding among its viewers. So despite all of the Oscar controversy, the movie Barbie stands out as an amazing depiction of the female gaze. It encourages a deeper contemplation of Barbie's impact without resorting to objectification or perpetuating the stereotypes that are typically associated with the iconic doll. The film prompts viewers to reflect on Barbie's significance and tells her story in a way that aligns with the principles of the female gaze. Rather than reducing Barbie to stereotypes or objectifying her, the movie explores her character with a thoughtful and empowering perspective, emphasizing a nuanced understanding of her cultural influence. Movies that challenge or deviate away from male-centric perspectives will face resistance from people who are accustomed to seeing movies in the male gaze. As I did see a lot of men say that they did not like the Barbie movie or the movie wasn't good, and I'm like, okay, sir, like, yes, we can all have our opinions, but I'll be honest, I am not checking for any heterosexual man's opinion on the movie. Like, the movie's not for you, Pookie. Actually, I feel like men should see the movie, but they're gonna be annoying about it anyways. Obviously, not all men, but like a lot of them have just been saying, yeah, the movie's not that good, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, yeah, well, it's because you're annoying, that's why. The intentional departure from traditional male-centric perspectives signals a cultural shift in filmmaking, where the focus is on offering a more inclusive and genuine portrayal of women's experiences. By consciously challenging these stereotypes and adopting a female-centered approach, these films aim to provide depth and complexity with its storytelling, moving away from one-dimensional characters, which I hope to see more moving forward. Part 3. Hollywood sucks. Next. Maybe I am being a little dramatic, but I gotta be honest and speak my truth. It's so obvious that Hollywood knowingly or unknowingly caters to the male gaze in films and shows. A lot of the popular films we have watched have a very attractive lady on the side, or maybe she is the main character, yet the way they tell her story is, let's say, interesting. The way they purposely zoom in on certain body parts and dress female characters cannot be ignored. And it's annoying, so let's talk about it. I first want to give a huge shout out to the film The Woman King. It came out back in 2022 and it starred Viola Davis, love her. And it was also directed by Gina Prince Bythewood. I love that movie so much. I wish I could watch it again. The way that the women were portrayed in that movie was chef's kiss. The Woman King is a powerful historical drama set in the 1820s. It follows the main character, General Nansika, played by the remarkable Viola Davis, as she trains a new generation of all-female Agoji warriors. The film weaves together training montages, emotional moments, and massive battle scenes, creating a compelling narrative that could have easily landed multiple nominations in the Oscars. But no, they actually got no Oscar nomination. So here's the thing when it comes to these award shows. So as I said before, I don't actually watch the Oscars. I don't really find it interesting. However, I know how much of a big deal it is to these actors and these directors to have their work acknowledged by the Academy. It's every actor's dream. So I would have loved to see this film get nominated because I know it would have meant a lot to Gina and also Viola. I just really loved the portrayal of the women. They were complex and they had so much dimensions and layers to them. And it's a perfect example of the female gaze. Honestly, it would have been iconic to have them nominated. I believe Gina would have been the first Black director to be nominated or the first Black female director to be nominated. I think though, I'm not sure. But they weren't nominated and the past is in the past and Hollywood's gonna be Hollywood. Anyways, I feel like I'm bringing up Margot Robbie a lot in this video, but she has just acted in so many iconic films that adhere to the male gaze and the female gaze, and she is a really talented actor, so I can't help it, but I gotta talk about her. Whether it's the outfits or the interesting camera angles or zooming in on specific body parts, it's hard not to notice that Margot is a very beautiful woman who has an amazing body. 2020. In 2016, she played Harley Quinn in the film Suicide Squad, which was directed by a man, David Ayer to be specific, and her outfit consisted of skimpy shorts, torn clothing, accompanied by long childlike pigtails. This representation primarily catered to heterosexual men, shaping an image crafted by men for men. But let's fast forward to 2020, where she is still playing Harley Quinn in the movie Birds of Prey, and it's a sequel from the Suicide Squad. But this time it's directed by a woman, Kathy Yan to be exact. In this rendition, Harley Quinn maintains her recklessness, her seductiveness, her viciousness, and her fun, while not catering to the male audience. Her pigtails were shorter and complemented by bangs, which sheds the childlike appearance she had in Suicide Squad. She opts for high-waisted shorts, discarding the use of padded underwear, and most notably, she's not wearing that dog collar. So it's very interesting to see a man's perspective on how Harley Quinn should dress versus a woman's perspective on how Harley Quinn should dress. Also, a film that could have done so much better is Bombshell, and that was released back in 2019. The film sheds light on actual sexual assault cases involving the CEO of Fox News. However, it's important to note that the film is directed by Jay Roach, a white man, and as a result, it frames these events from a distinctively male-centric point of view. There is an infamous scene in the movie where the character Kayla, who was played by Margot Robbie, is asked to perform a twirl for the CEO during her interview. And during the scene, the director decides to strategically position the camera directly on Kayla's skirt. The camera is framed from the CEO's point of view, providing heterosexual male viewers a glimpse of what the CEO was convicted for desiring, and creating a sense of secondhand discomfort for female viewers. I personally feel that this scene would have been more powerful if we saw only the CEO's face and we just saw him say, lift it higher, referring to her skirts. I feel like it would have been more powerful just to stay on his face and we see his expression change as she lifts her dress higher and higher. Or they could have showed Margot's face and showed her discomfort while also showing the CEO's face as well. Maybe I should become a director or something because, you know, I need to step into the movie scene clearly and tell these directors what to do. But anyways, it's not about bashing Hollywood, but it's about holding it accountable. We all love a good story, but when these stories compromise substance for a questionable gaze, it's time to call it out. And it's not about sidelining the existing narratives, but expanding the horizon to welcome stories that truly reflect the diverse experiences of women. Is that too much to ask for? Is that too much to ask for? Dear Hollywood, we hold a deep appreciation for your creativity and the films that you have brought to life. However, it's time to elevate your storytelling. As your audience evolves, so should your storytelling. And can you guys actually appreciate these stories that wholeheartedly embrace the experiences of women? Thank you. Anyways, thank you so much for making it till the end of this video. I appreciate you. I hope you enjoyed it and you find it interesting. Please let me know your thoughts on what you think about this whole debacle. What do you think about the female gaze? What do you think about the male gaze? Let me know, because I find this topic super interesting, so I'm definitely excited to read your comments. I might make a video that goes deeper into the male gaze and the female gaze, so that's a possibility. If you want me to do that, let me know in the comments below, and thank you once again, and I will see you in my next video. Hey, it's me again. So I just wanted to thank our partners at CyberGhost VPN once again for making today's video possible. This application will protect your data as you browse the internet and also give you access to all blocked content on the internet. So don't miss out on this exclusive offer made just for you. You can find the link down in the description box or in the pinned comment below. Thank you so much for sticking to the end of the video. I really appreciate you guys, and I hope you'll be here for my next video. Bye! I found some definitions overly specific.